There's a little boy with the ball in the window.
At the end of a quiet street is a haunted house. 24 hours to investigate Charnock Hall.
When you're in this house, you can tell there's a presence.
Hello and welcome to Most Haunted. Now, most people think that ghosts like to reside in old drafty castles in the middle of nowhere. Well, we've come to a quiet cul-de-sac on the outskirts of Preston, where we found a house that is so paranormally active that the Most Haunted team are going to spend 24 hours investigating.
Charnock Hall has a long history and was once owned by the royal family. In the 17th century, Robert Charnock, a Catholic priest, lived here. It was around this time that Catholicism was frowned upon and many masses were conducted here in secrecy. The current owners and past residents have witnessed dark, shadowy figures that look remarkably like priests.
Now, Jason, there's been previous investigations at Charnock Hall. What sort of things have happened here?
Well, I think probably one of the most interesting events happened to two different people on the same night, and that was they went upstairs to use the bathroom, and when they came to exit the room, they couldn't get out of the door. It was being pushed from the other side. They also had a transfiguration experience where several people saw a person's face change into what they thought was a nun because it had a cross hanging around. And also all the electricity flicked off for no reason, and Carol, who owns Charnock Hall, said it had never happened before. One of the theories behind that is that ghosts actually can use mains electricity in order to manifest. Now, there's absolutely no scientific basis to this, but it's a popular psychic theory.
Now, Derek Okora, our spiritualist medium, he's actually on his way to the location. He has got no history whatsoever of Charnock Hall, so I think it's going to be a very interesting evening altogether.
For the first time, none of our crew felt scared or threatened about staying all night at Charnock Hall. The house seemed to have a very comfortable atmosphere, but as we all know, feelings and atmospheres can change, especially when it gets dark.
When I took the staircase out was the first time I really noticed something. There was just a pair of ladders up to the bedroom so I could get upstairs, and I heard people walking up and down the stairs, and there was no stairs here. So I was quite excited, really. My stereo player comes on in the middle of the night, and my television switches on in the middle of the night as well. A friend of mine came round and he sat outside in the car and he said, "Who's Carol got round? Who's the little boy with the ball in the window?" And they said, "Nobody, Carol's in there on her own." And there was a little boy in the front room window upstairs bouncing a ball.
We came here for a séance, actually, and it was a very interesting night. When I arrived, there was a really strange humming noise, and I was the first to arrive, and it was really loud, and that was really noticeable. And then other people arrived and it stopped. And I was looking for something electric, but there wasn't anything. Anyway, we went on and had the séance, and all sorts happened, but what really sticks in my mind is when I went to the toilet, up the stairs. And I've been loads of times, it didn't bother me at all. This particular night, I went in the toilet, washed my hands, and as I was coming out, the door had closed and it wouldn't open, and it wasn't locked.
We had a few little lights that came in the room when we were all sat round, and they kept flying round us, and then they disappeared into the corner of the room. And then one of the ladies that was here, who I didn't really know, I'd never met her before, she went into another figure. She just turned into somebody different, like a nun with a cross, and she went old and her neck elongated, and it was quite scary, really, when we were looking at her, and she couldn't speak.
She was youngish, I think she was blonde, and she was 4 or 5 ladies along the left to me. And during the séance, I could hear other ladies on the other side saying that she was changing, so I looked. And I couldn't get full frontal face, but I definitely saw her neck grow, and she aged. She couldn't speak. And I was thinking, this is really weird. And then the temperatures changed, cold, really hot, and everybody was noticing it. We were holding hands and suddenly everybody was burning or everybody was really chilly. It was really an interesting night.
The middle bedroom is the one that's got definitely things happening in there. That's the one where my friend experienced the monk sitting on the bed. A medium picked up the most spirits in that room, and my friend won't sleep in that room. And in fact, a lot of people won't go in that room. I feel protected, I don't feel frightened at all. It's a really nice, whoever's here, they're looking after me. My estate agent, when I put the house on the market, which I really didn't want to sell, but I have to do for certain reasons, she came in and sat in the front room, and she took all the details of the house and the measurements of the rooms and stuff. And she just said to me, Carol, somebody just sat next to me on the settee. And she said, and what they want to know, they told me to tell you that you have to make your mind up what you want to do. You do know there's something here. When you're in this house, you can tell there's a presence, definitely. But it's nothing to be frightened of at all. I do have a friend that comes and stays pretty regularly at the moment, and she's had a few experiences of little things happening, and she won't come upstairs without me, she won't go to the toilet without me, she won't sleep upstairs, she has to sleep downstairs.
Well, this house is a private house. It's not well known as a haunted location. There are, however, a lot of historical facts that we do know, despite the fact that it's not particularly important in paranormal terms. The most important family connected with the hall, and the reason it's called Charnock Hall, is the Charnock family, the principal member of which was Robert Charnock. Now, he was a Catholic priest in the area, quite an important person when it was deeply illegal to practice the Catholic faith in the 17th century. And he, when he died, signed the house over to his housemaid or house servant, who was called Grace Bold, in the hope or in the trust that she would continue to allow the building to be used for Catholic Mass. Now, she decided not to do that, and when she got hold of the building, she decided to use it for her own ends. Now, people have said that they've seen spirits or phantoms here with long robes, and that may be explainable if you believe in the ghosts that people say they've seen as Catholic priests, because there are priest hides here in the house.
This is the oldest part of the building, and I absolutely love it. It's so welcoming and warm. But in spite of that, the owner had a friend who brought their dog here, and all the dog did was cower under the table. It was absolutely petrified. Although this room is pretty, I don't like it. Now, a guest was sleeping here, and she woke up in the middle of the night to find two monks sitting on the end of her bed, starting to have a conversation with her. Well, she didn't hang around. She stood up, screamed, and ran out. Well, this is the main living room of the house, and a lot of paranormal activity goes on here. Now, Carol, the lady who owns the house, is asleep upstairs in bed, and all of a sudden she'll hear the stereo and the television come on of their own accord. She'll come downstairs, switch them off, and go back to bed again. Not only is it inconvenient, but there's just no way I would stay and live in a house like this.
With our spiritualist medium, Derek Okora, joining the rest of our crew, we had time to talk about what may happen tonight and how we were all feeling.
100% too paranormal. However,
when you sat in the edit suite, it's very easy to take judgment on what you see. But now that I'm here and I know that the lights are going to go off later, I'm not sure how I'm going to react to it. I am a little apprehensive.
when I first arrived to the property, I was virtually jolted back. It was like a short charge of electricity. And I was always assigned to a sensitive that a ley line, and quite a strong ley line, is attached underneath this property here. It can help the spirit entities to be experienced more than if there was no ley line there.
I have no idea what I'm expecting to happen tonight. One thing I don't like is the middle bedroom. It frightens me for some strange reason. That's probably me being silly. But we shall see a little bit later on.
The only time I get frightened is when there's something, whatever location I could go into, that I personally, or Sam, firstly, that I don't understand, or not come across before.
You see, when we were in Ostrich Inn,
yeah.
I swear, you probably tell me to shut up, but when we were at Ostrich Inn, you were gripping my hand so tightly.
Yes, by touching and holding, that is your reality